Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we're at Brendan Theaters watching Godzilla, King of the Monsters. After seeing the trailers, I was intrigued, not sure where this would potentially go. With this type of movie, you're looking for massive kaiju fights. And as far as the way that these other films in the franchise between Godzilla from 2014 and Kong Skull Island have pushed things, there's typically a lot of character-driven drama, which is kind of not what you're there for. You're there more to see the big kaiju battles. This falls into that same trap. You get a lot of dialogue and a lot of turning away from the action to see what the humans are doing. That's unfortunate, but understandable as far as like budgeting and editing are concerned. With a movie like this, the special effects are what you're there for, but they're also the most expensive part to make, and they need to be sprinkled out in a proper amount in order to keep you interested, and I don't know if it got the balance quite right. That being said, in times when they do give you that sprinkling, it's some pretty incredible special effects. Really cool moments in this movie. The actual battles between all these different kaiju are super incredible to watch. If I could just sit and watch, like, I'd say 30 or 45 minutes of just that, rather than having all of this character-driven drama, I would definitely go for that route. This is kind of the problem with doing this type of a film. I mean, you're pulling from source material that is very B and very schlocky. Doesn't really have this huge clout as being a beautiful story or anything like that. You're not being given Oscar material as far as what's being handed to the actors. And I think that that's where this movie's biggest fault lies. The script. Not a lot of meat on the bones. There's a lot of really bad science, which you know is one of my personal pet peeves. A lot of those things just don't work. And if they tweaked some things here and there and made it a little bit more understandable, a little more believable, and took out some of that bad science, it would just be more enjoyable. You could still do all of the same action set pieces and just do a little tweaking to the story and give the dialogue a little bit more of an overhaul, give it a little punch up. It would be an incredible action movie. All that being said, just because the dialogue is poor, the script doesn't take you in places, doesn't mean that there isn't any meat left on the bones as far as the way that the story is presented as for the film as a whole. There were parts of this movie that were terrible and cringy, and there were parts of this movie that were awesome to the point of potentially want you to cheer in your seats. Like I said, the balancing was something that they struggled with, which was unfortunate. You want this to be balanced well, and you want to be interested the whole time, and there's just too many characters to follow with really hammy, crappy dialogue. That's unfortunate. I think the actors, for the most part, did the best with a bad situation. There were a few performances that were okay, but like I said, they were also not given much to work with dialogue-wise. So you have to kind of fill in gaps, try to understand where they're coming from, which, with as many characters are in this movie, you have a hard time doing, which is another thing that's an unfortunate negative for this film. The score isn't something you necessarily notice. It was done by the same guy who does the score for The Walking Dead. It was okay. Like I said, it wasn't something you super noticed because you have these big moments that almost have that kind of like Hans Zimmer feel, that like crazy noise. Like I said, that just kind of gets drowned out in all of like the destruction and mayhem that takes place in a movie like this. Serviceable, it's there. It's not something you're necessarily paying a whole bunch of attention to. Overall, this is definitely a movie that is worth watching at least once, especially if you were into either of the two in this franchise, or if you were into the original series of movies. Definitely is a movie where you should go in with low expectations for the dialogue, high expectations for the special effects. If it's something that you just go in to turn your mind off and watch, that's something I could definitely recommend. Overall, I would say this movie is somewhere around a 5 out of 10 for me. It's not perfect, it's not god-awful, it's somewhere in that weird middle territory, but definitely worth watching for the action.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.